Okay, let's dive right in. We've got this incredible stack of old articles, research notes, all about this, well, pretty perplexing figure from boxing history, a fighter known just as the Iron Man.
Yeah, it's quite a collection you've shared.
And our mission here for this deep dive is really to sort through all this stuff, piece together his story, which is extraordinary, kind of brutal, but also really human,
Hmm.
Try and figure out what drove him and, well, the ending is something else entirely.
It definitely takes you back. The sources, they just paint this picture of boxing from a different era, almost alien now.
Right. Traveling carnivals,
Ooh, what
smoky
the-
clubs.
Exactly. Super raw, often brutal, and yeah, sometimes pretty crooked, let's be honest.
Totally. It felt like sheer toughness could trump everything else back then. Science, skill, sometimes didn't matter as much.
And that's the world Mike Brennon walks into.
And what an entrance. That first encounter in the material from Steve Amber, it sets it up perfectly.
Right, the Nevada carnival fight.
Yeah, he walks in, you've got the loud barker, the house fight, young Furpo, who's obviously a plant, right?
Oh, clearly. A setup.
And then this local kid, Mike Brennan, just steps up
Yeah.
out of the crowd.
Yeah, completely uninvited. And the description of him is so specific. Tall, 6'1", built strong but lean.
Tapering build, broad shoulders, heavy arms.
Dark hair, those piercing gray eyes. A fighting face, they called it.
But raw, rough around the edges. And Amber clocked something immediately, didn't he? The weights.
Yeah, the announced weights seemed off. Furpo looked way heavier than Mike, even though they were listed only 2 pounds apart.
So the fight starts, and it sounds just wild. A quick snapshot of Mike's whole deal.
He comes out completely open, like a bar fight, zero defense.
Furpo lands a hard left, then a big right to the jaw. Mike just shakes his head, keeps coming. Furpo lands that left hook again, and boom, Mike goes down, flat on his face, like a log.
Crowd goes nuts. Looks like it's over.
And this is the moment, isn't it? We see what makes him different.
Absolutely. The Barker, who's also the ref, does the super fast count. 5, Mike's not moving.
Nothing.
7, he stirs. Then at 8, he pushes up to his knees, and the source says his eyes are just blazing with fury.
Total rage.
And by 10, he doesn't just get up, he bounds up. Like a tiger, everyone's stunned. Furpo's stunned.
Stunned is an understatement. Mike is just on him. Furpo's backing up, can barely defend himself.
Wide left hook connects, then a massive right. Furpo's out cold.
Done. But then the real shocker, Mike, still kind of dazed, rips the glove off Furpo's hand.
And holds it up and inside.
Knuckle duster, heavy iron.
Yeah, and Amber, watching, just gasps. Because that's why Mike getting up was so incredible.
Right. He'd taken full force blows from an iron-weighted glove to the jaw.
Oh.
Blows that should have ended it permanently.
And he got up at the last second and won. The crowd just erupts when they realize what happened.
Yeah.
Total chaos.
People storm the ring. Mike even gets hit by a chair meant for Furpo, takes it on the shoulder.
Just insane resilience. That's the first real glimpse of the Iron Man right there.
It's an incredible start. So Amber sees him again later, right? Against a guy named Mulcahy.
Yeah. Same story, basically. Incredible stamina, huge power, but absolutely no boxing science.
The Mulcahy outboxes him for 2 rounds, easy.
Picks him apart. But Mike just keeps coming, wears him down with that raw power, and eventually knocks him out.
So Amber's thinking, this guy looks like a champ physically, but fights like a longshoreman?
Yeah, exactly. He wonders if maybe it's just bad management holding him back. Maybe there's potential there.
So he approaches Mike after the Mulcahy fight.
And Mike's reaction is not exactly welcoming.
Pretty abrupt. Amber introduces himself. Mike's heard of him. Amber offers to manage him.
Mike just shuts him down. Says he's done fighting, sick of these small-time guys, these dubs.
He mentions he lost twice before to serious fighters, Sailor
Yeah.
Slade and Johnny Varela.
Right. Basically tells Amber he's not interested, just wants to leave. Amber gives him his card anyway, just in case.
A few weeks later.
He shows up at Amber's training camp. But he's different this time.
How so?
Not downbeat, but eager. And crucially, desperate. Needs a fight right away. Needs money.
The money angle starts right here. Amber offers him cash up front.
Yeah, but Mike doesn't want a loan. He wants a fight that week.
Impatient. So Amber brings in Spike Gamlin, a smart middleweight, for sparring.
And weirdly, in sparring, Mike shows some decent boxing skills, but the power isn't there.
Huh.
Then he hits the heavy bag, and bam! The power's back, full force.
Strange, like it's linked to the actual impact, not just the movement.
Something like that. So training starts, and it's just frustrating for everyone.
Mike's smart, right? He gets the theory.
Totally. Understands footwork, angles, defense, intellectually, but he just cannot do it in practice.
When he tries to box properly,
His punches are weak, flabby, the source says, but the second he gets tagged, even lightly,
he snaps back.
instantly reverts. Wild, wide-open sledgehammer swings, no technique.
So Amber makes a big call, gives up on the whole boxing science idea.
Yeah, decides, okay, if he can't be a clever boxer, let's make him a pure slugger. Like Dempsey, Sullivan, those guys.
But even that wasn't natural for him.
Apparently not. The great sluggers often had instinctive footwork, weaving, knew how to land those power shots accurately. Mike, he just came straight forward, wide open.
So 3 months of just drilling.
Yep, kept him out of fights, hours on the heavy bag, trying to straighten the hooks, teaching the Dempsey weave, basic footwork.
And it was hard work for him.
Incredibly hard. The material says simple stuff took hours and he'd still forget it under pressure. It wasn't lack of trying, it was something else.
Which leads to Ganlon's insight. What did he call Mike? A queer nut.
Yeah, that was the phrase. He said Mike had the heart, the body, but not the fighter's brain. He understood, but couldn't do it in the ring.
Like a disconnect.
Ganlon thought maybe a kink in his brain, something that stopped the mind and muscles working together in combat. You know, in a fight, you don't have time to think, you just react. Or if you're a slugger like Mike was becoming, you don't think nothing, just take the punch and keep going.
Fascinating, like a neurological thing almost.
Yeah.
And Ganlon warned about fighting wide open like that?
Oh, yeah. Grim warning. Said even great sluggers had some defense. Guys who fought completely open, taking flush headshots, they end up punch drunk. Padded cell and paper doll cutouts. He really doubted Mike was cut out for the long haul.
Despite all this, Mike suddenly needs a fight again. Urgently.
Desperately. Needs money bad. Names a big number that surprises Amber.
Because Mike has no expenses, right? Lives super cheap, refuses loans.
Exactly. And when Amber gently asks why he needs the money so badly,
Mike blows up.
white-lipped anger, really intense, then apologizes right away. But it's a big clue.
That this money thing is way more than just needing cash. It's deeper.
Yeah. And that desperation pushes Amber. He agrees to get Mike a big fight, fast money, against Monk Baroda, a top guy known for taking easy setup fights.
Risky. Amber warns him it could wreck his career.
Tells him straight up. But Mike's intensity, this magnetic force about the money, Amber caves. He calls it an obsession.
So, the Baroda fight. Mike's big step up. How does he look coming out?
Back to square one, almost. Looks lost, bewildered by the lights, the crowd. Forgets everything they practice.
Ducks the wrong way, eats punches.
Totally. Baroda sees an easy night, thinks Mike's just a dub, and starts picking him apart with jabs. Ganlon's going nuts at ringside.
But then, the toughness kicks in again.
Big time. After a round of taking serious punishment, Mike comes back to the corner, fresh. Tells Ganlon Baroda can't hit. Says he didn't feel his punches.
Chilling. That's just not normal.
Not even close. And then Baroda lands his best shot, the big one, his bone-crushing right, flush on the jaw.
You can hear the impact.
Apparently, yeah. Loud crack, Mike staggers, but doesn't go down.
He doesn't fall.
Nope. And Baroda just freezes. He expected him to be out cold. That split second is all Mike needs.
He jumps on him.
Wild swings, but a left hook lands, drops Baroda. Baroda gets up, looks dazed. Mike just tears into him, pure ferocity. Misses a lot, but connects with a huge sweeping right. Baroda's out. Senseless.
Wow. And Ganlon sees it then and there.
Yeah, yells it out. He's an Iron Man, a natural-born freak. Knows Mike will never learn to box, but his chin is just something else. The name sticks.
So the aftermath. Papers raving. Next big thing.
But an old-timer columnist brings it back to earth, mentions the previous losses, calls it a fluke win based purely on toughness.
And Ganlon doubles down on his assessment at breakfast, right?
Brutal. Calls Mike a false alarm. Got the body, got the heart, but zero talent, can't learn. Compares him to Joe Grimm again. Says he's headed for the booby hatch eventually. Tells him flat out, quit now.
But Mike, he actually agrees about the lack of skill.
Surprisingly, yeah. Admits he gets dazed, forgets everything, has to just muddle through, but then he says the key thing, I can take it.
That's his whole strategy.
Exactly. Use the granite jaw, the iron ribs, absorb punishment, wear guys down, make a fortune before the knockout finally comes. His defense is his toughness.
Amber must have been horrified.
Absolutely. Warns him about the beatings he'll take against top guys, calls it suicide. But Mike insists they can't hurt me.
And he demands the toughest fights.
the punchers.
Yeah, the man killers like Jack Maloney.
Oh.
Because he gets it, the spectacle of him getting hammered but staying up, that's what draws the crowds. That's the money.
Amber tries to refuse.
Initially, yeah.
Yeah.
Says he won't manage suicide. But Mike's willpower again, that intensity, Amber gives in, warns him his brain will get clouded.
And Mike just shrugs it off, cased in solid iron.
Dismisses it completely.
Yeah.
And Ganlan's still baffled by the money thing, the obsession, the cheap living, especially for an orphan, calls him an enigma.
So Iron Mike Brennon becomes a phenomenon, not for skill, but for this spectacle of endurance.
Exactly, the undisputed king of the Ironmen. Amazing stamina, raw power, zero science. Just comes forward, takes everything, waits for his opening. First big test on this path, Jack Maloney. White-hot fighting fury.
Right. Amber and Ganlan hype it up, gloss over the flaws, focus on the KOs, place is packed, people want to see the Iron Man.
And Mike's focused only on the gate, the purse.
Totally. Before the fight, that's all he cares about. Maloney comes out, skilled, guarded. Mike forgets everything again, charges out, wide open.
And the fight is just brutal.
Exactly as advertised. Maloney lands hard, fast, whips Mike around, crowds loving it. Maloney's corner thinks it's easy.
But Ganlan sees it happening.
The old Iron Man game. Maloney's just punching himself out on Mike's jaw and body.
End of the first, Maloney's slowing down already. Mike's battered but strong.
Yep, staggers Maloney near the bell. Second round, Maloney tries desperately, lands cleaner, harder. Mike's face is a mess. Cut, lips bleeding, nose broken.
But he doesn't show pain.
Not really, until some heavy jaw shots make his knees buckle for just a second. Crowd starts to really get it then. The sheer punishment he's absorbing.
Third round, Maloney's gassed.
Completely fought out, knocks Mike down, but Mike gets up at 8. And as he gets up, Amber sees him muttering.
More fights, more money.
Yeah, that just breaks Maloney's spirit. Seeing him get up again, Mike charges in, misses wildly, but lands enough on the exhausted Maloney to finish him.
And the picture afterwards. Mike, the winner, a total wreck. Maloney barely marked.
Stark contrast. Amber reflects on other Iron Men, how Mike's lack of defense makes him take even more punishment. And Mike, despite being busted up, immediately wants Varela next week.
The obsession just keeps pushing him. His fame explodes. He's a huge draw, specifically because he takes inhuman beatings.
Right. And the money obsession grows with it. Fights constantly, haggles over every penny, lives like a total miser despite making huge money.
And there's something else driving him too, right?
Yeah.
Not just the physical toughness.
The sources mention this driving, savage determination he picked up somewhere along the line, something that drags him off the canvas when his body's quitting. It's more than just grit.
So the next few years, he fights everyone. Wins some, loses some.
Pretty much. Beats the big punchers who tire themselves out on him, loses to the clever boxers who can stick and move, outpoint him. His only edge is taking the punishment.
Until the Van Heeren fight. The ultimate test.
Oh, yeah. The durable Dutchman, another legendary tough guy. 2 Iron Men colliding. The source calls it a slaughter. No science, just pure brutality.
And the ref agreed not to stop it beforehand.
Unbelievably, yes, no matter how bad it got.
And it got bad.
Horrific. 9 rounds of just toe-to-toe slugging. Mike takes a beating, dropped 3 times. But he gives worse than he gets. Van Heeren's face is destroyed, ribs broken, down again and again.
The crowd was sickened, fainting.
Screaming for it to stop, but it didn't. 9th round, Van Heeren finally collapses for good. A wreck, still trying to get up.
Mike's the king of the Iron Men now, but even he felt that one.
Yeah, for the only time, he was dizzy, nearly punched out himself. It was devastating for Van Heeren, terrible for boxing's image there. But Mike's fame, his price, just went up again.
Amber reflects on the history, the fate of guys like Sharkey, Bowden, Grimm.
Yeah, the bloody trail they left, usually ending broken, clouded, punch-drunk.
And after about 3 years of this, Ganlan sees the signs in Mike.
Definitely. Mike slipping. Punches are hurting him more. Ganlan begs him to quit. Points to Van Heeren, who's now totally gone, talking about fighting dead champions. Mike's face is so battered, it looks sinister.
But Mike refuses. Still needs more money. Won't quit till he's KO'd.
Complete denial. Insists he's fine, good for more big purses, and then Ganlan drops a bombshell.
What's that?
Reveals Mike quietly gave Van Heeren $1,000 after their fight.
Wow. So he's not just a miser.
No. And Mike reacts intensely, says he felt responsible for Van Heeren's state. Another layer to the enigma.
Amber pleads with him again. Quit, get surgery.
Yeah.
Warns about the padded cell.
Pulls out all the stops. But Mike's locked in, demands fights with the 4 most dangerous guys left. Slade, Hansen, Slattery, Costigan.
Suicide run.
Amber calls it exactly that, but Mike is adamant. The money, the crowds, the challenge, especially Costigan, another Iron Man.
And Amber notices something else.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah, he recalls seeing Mike get up from knockdowns sometimes, and his eyes weren't just furious, they were blue with sudden terror, terror of losing. What's driving that dread? It feels connected to the money lust.
The final pieces are about to fall into place.
Yeah.
Days before the Slade fight, Amber finds something.
Mike's letters. One to a Marjorie Walsher at a fancy finishing school, and one from her. Amber, driven by the mystery, reads them.
And the truth hits him. Mike's been supporting her. Secretly.
Yeah. And Amber, knowing what Mike's been going through, he's furious. At Marjorie, confronts Mike, accuses her of bleeding him dry while she lives in luxury.
And Mike finally confesses. The whole story.
Yeah. Marjorie's the only person he ever loved, only connection he ever had, talks about his grim orphanage childhood, life as a tramp.
Met her working where?
A cafe.
Small cafe in Arizona. She was poor too, from good blood but trapped, working herself to the bone. Dreaming of education, a different life.
And Mike couldn't bear the thought of her ending up like the women he knew. Exactly.
Yeah.
Couldn't condemn her to the life of a laborer's wife. So he went back to boxing the only way he knew to make real money. Fast for her.
To get her out, school, savings, so she'd never want again for anything. Escape poverty, which he saw as this cruel, crushing force.
That's it. That was the fuel. The thought of her waiting, the life he was building for her. That's what let him take those beatings, get up when he should have stayed down. It wasn't just toughness, it was love. Fierce, protective love.
And he hid the whole thing from her. The brutality.
Completely. Told her boxing was gentle, made her promise not to watch or listen. Used a fake name, Mike Flynn, sent anonymous checks. Made her think Mike Brennon was just some successful friend helping out.
His goal was the big money, the $100 K purses. Enough to set her up for life. But if he got knocked out...
The ride was over. He'd have to quit.
Which brings us to the Slade fight. He had slipped by then.
Yeah, Ganlon was right. Legs were slower, punches hurt more. Slade knocked him down again and again.
But you wouldn't stay down.
That sheer will kept him going. Slade punched himself out. And Mike, just a red smear, somehow knocked Slade out in the 14th. Both carried out unconscious.
And that night, delirious.
Yeah.
He lists the names.
Yeah. Calls Marjorie's name, relives fights, sees red, then names the Iron Men. Grimm, Nelson, Bowden, Goddard, and adds himself. Iron Mike Brennan. Amber finds it deeply disturbing, like he's joining a doomed club.
Then Marjorie arrives. Ganlon brought her.
Yes, she looks high society, but she's frantic with worry, demands to see Mike despite the state he's in.
Amber tries to stop her, still bitter.
Yeah, says you've done enough, doesn't want her to see the wreckage. But she's fierce, pushes past him.
And when she sees his face.
Heartbreaking, she just sways, whimpers, goes white as a sheet, then collapses by the bed, sobbing, holding his head.
She shows Amber the letter, right? The one where Mike lied about how easy it all was.
Yeah, scarcely laid a glove on me, boxing's a cinch. She genuinely had no clue about the horror he was enduring.
Her reaction is instant, though.
Total resolve. She's staying. Marrying him tomorrow. Taking him away from all this.
Then Ganlon reveals he was the one who told her.
Yep. Confesses he wrote to her. Told her Flynn was Brennan, described the brutal fights, hoped she'd get there in time to stop the Slade fight. Too late for that, but maybe not too late overall.
Ganlon's view is grim. If she's got any real strength, she'll make him quit. Because Costigan
will kill him or drive him mad. Ganlon thinks Mike's so far gone you almost have to stop him. Permanently.
Mike wakes up. Still got that recovery power. Marjorie pleads.
Begs him to quit. But he refuses. Still talking about the money. $100 K a fight.
Marjorie's heartbroken. They have enough. She'd rather be poor.
Mike's reaction is strange here. Tender, holds her hand, admires her hands, says looking at her makes the suffering worthwhile.
But he won't budge. Still needs to be counted out.
Stubborn as ever. Still thinks he needs the money, needs to go out on his shield.
So Marjorie gives the ultimatum. Fight again, and she leaves.
But Mike stares her down, uses that weird magnetic power he has outside the ring, thinks she's bluffing, thinks she belongs to him now, doesn't believe she'll leave.
Ganlon sees this, calls Mike crazy, warns again about Costigan. Tougher, younger, peak condition. It'll be a bloody grind, end in death, or the bookhouse.
Mike's still in denial. Costigan's overrated, he's still tougher.
Training for Costigan sounds pointless.
Pretty much. The damage is done, camp is gloomy, everyone knows what's coming. Except Mike.
He's laughing it off. Thinks being slayed proved he's better than ever.
Yeah, calls it a cinch. Still doesn't truly believe he can be knocked out.
Marjorie pleads one last time. Fails. Mike says he needs that fourth $100K purse record crowd. He has to go through with it.
The fight night arrives. Huge crowd, tense atmosphere. Mike looks slow, legs dragging, but fierce when he faces Costigan.
And Costigan looks him down.
Yeah.
First man ever to do that.
Yeah, that's a sign right there.
The knockout itself.
Yeah.
Surprisingly quick, anticlimactic.
Almost weirdly quiet. Mike looks off, slow, like he's drunk. Costigan hits him. Mike fires back wildly, drops Costigan.
He drops him.
Yeah, but Costigan bounces right back up, looks fine, and then Mike just sags. Goes limp, eyes cloudy. Costigan hits him again. Mike just sways and falls. Like a puppet with cut strings. Count it out. 10. Career over. Silence.
Total silence in the stadium. He's carried out, senseless.
Reporters are already saying his jaw's crockery. He wakes up later, asks dazedly if he won.
And when they tell him KO'd, first round.
Amazement. Disbelief. But no anger, no despair. Just notes, strangely, that he doesn't have a mark on him from the fight.
Marjorie's right there. Tells him he has to quit now like he promised.
Saved him from the money obsession, the pride. Saved him while he still had his mind.
But Mike's first thought
Is about the crowds. Regrets he won't draw them anymore. A flicker of the old Mike.
then Gallon bursts in. Something's wrong. Mike felt drowsy before the fight.
Yeah. Gallon finds out Mike drank tea Marjorie made just before the bell.
And Gallon puts it together instantly.
Yells it out. Yeah, and she doped it herself. She framed you to lose.
Wow. And Marjorie yells it out.
At first she shrinks back, then stands tall, defiant. Yes, she drugged the tea. To make sure he lost, got knocked out clean, ended his career, killed his drawing power, forced him out.
She couldn't watch him suffer anymore.
Describes the torture it was for her. Says she saved him from his mad avarice and cruel pride. Saved his mind, even if it was against his will. Tells Mike he can hit her. She doesn't care. She did what she had to do.
And then she reveals the dress.
Yeah, she wilts a bit, shows the cheap gingham dress under her wrap. Mike asks why. She says it's the dress from when they met. She got her old job back at the cafe, the fancy school, that life, it's over.
And that finally breaks through to Mike.
Hits him like a ton of bricks, grabs her shoulders, confused, then just crushed. Realizes how much she was suffering, thought she was being willful, didn't see his own pride, his vanity, how he was destroying her happiness, chasing the money.
He finally gets it.
Yeah, says none of that matters now, just them, their life, their love. He'll make her happy.
And the changing him is real.
Visible. Hard face softens, eyes become tender. Ganlon sees it, realizes he misjudged man. Marjorie calls her a regular, a good soul, and says Mike, unbelievably, might be the only Iron Man who got the right breaks.
They leave together, presumably leaving the fight game behind.
That seems to be the end of that chapter, yeah.
What a story. So many layers. The physical freakishness, the Iron Man himself, then the obsessive drive for money, and finally, the hidden engine. This deep protective love trying to shield someone from poverty.
It really shows how a sports story, especially from that raw era, can dig into really complex psychology. Sacrifice, the cost of ambition, the damaged poverty, and that brutal environment inflicted.
Makes you think about strength, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He was unbreakable physically, but maybe totally rigid in his pride, his denial. And Marjorie's act. Deceptive, yes, but driven by love.
You still see echoes of that today, right? People pushing themselves to insane limits for others, hiding the cost, driven by things in their past.
Definitely. And it raises that question. Saving someone from one danger, does it always protect them from everything? Especially the past damage.
Which is the final thought that lingers, isn't it? The story ends hopefully. Mike's safe from Costigan, safe from the immediate bug house. He has Marjorie. But after 3 years of those thousands of devastating blows, the kind that ruined Van Heeren and the others, did Marjorie's act, drugging the tea, truly save his mind in the long run from the cumulative damage already done?
Yeah. The sources are clear about how that path usually ends. It leaves you wondering about the damage that was already baked in. A really provocative question to end on.